The day has come. Juan Soto has signed a 15-year contract with the New York Mets, and everybody, we are down bad.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, check us out over on Twitter and search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your pods, including over on YouTube. Again, search Locked On Nationals. Later on in today's program, we got to get into the NL East landscape here because yesterday has changed the NL East, not for just this year, not just for the next 15 years, but as long as Steve Cohen owns the New York Mets, we are in trouble in a big way. I'll talk about that a little bit later on as we get deeper in today's program. In the second segment, could the Nationals take advantage of this opportunity and sign Pete Alonso? I'm going to tell you why their chances of that are a lot worse. I'll tell you why that is in the second segment of today's program. But we start off discussing Juan Soto signing a 15-year, $765 million offer from the New York Mets. And oh my God. Just oh my God. We'll get into it, but today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Juan Soto is a New York Met. This sucks. And just looking around the NL East at this point, here, this is going to be a little bit of an analogy. For Commanders fans out there, if you have been following the Washington football team, when you see the Packers play, when you see the Rams play, when you see the Niners, when you see, just name that team out there, the Vikings, you always see this one thing, this 2012 coaching staff with Washington had Mike McDaniel, Kevin O'Connell, had Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, all these different guys, Raheem Morris. That same thing now applies for the 2018 Washington Nationals. Look across the NL East, and even then, this is closer to home than even what the Washington football team is. You have Bryce Harper, who jumped to the Phillies. That stung. Trey Turner, you trade him away to the Dodgers. He then signs with the Phillies. That stunk. And now you have Juan Soto. You trade him to the Padres, who then traded him to the Yankees, who is now signing with the Mets. Everywhere I look, I cannot get away from my X's. I turn this corner, I play this team, I play an X. I play the other team, let's go back, try it this way, I play another X. You cannot escape former Washington Nationals. And all of them reside in the NL East. All of them. I have seen Max Scherzer pitch for the New York Mets. I have seen Bryce Harper hit home run after home run against this team. I have seen Trey Turner make web gem plays and have that streaking hot second half in 2023 with the Philadelphia Phillies. And now, I and you have to watch Juan Soto, the best player ever to wear the curly W, here in DC, play with the New York Mets for the next 15 seasons. Let's get into the contract, though, real quick. He has an opt-out after his first 5 seasons. And if Juan Soto chooses to opt out of that, then, well, he can go on and hit free agency again, and who knows, maybe cash on another crazy contract out there. But I fully expect Juan Soto to be a New York Met for the next 15 years. The reason why that is because if he does opt into that, his contract can net him over, or really just about $800 million. Because if he does opt into that, he'll get $5 million added annually per season. Juan Soto is going to be a New York Met for the rest of your lives. I am now 25 years old. I will be 40 years old when Juan Soto is a free agent. 40. Think about that for a second. I don't have kids. I'm not going to have kids over the next few years. But my kid, if he's 6 or 7 years old, when I'm 40, I don't know how old I'll be, but still, he will know Juan Soto as a New York Met. And I will have to explain to him that, yeah, buddy, Juan Soto, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, who might be going to the Hall of Fame at that point, they were all on the same team. And yeah, they wore that curly W hat here in D.C. Homegrown talent. You traded for Trey Turner as a little puppy in the minor leagues. You developed him into a star shortstop. Juan Soto was a mid-level tier international prospect. You flew through the system, and he became a future Hall of Famer, one of the better hitters that we have ever seen in baseball. And Bryce Harper came in as a superstar and left as a superstar. They were all in the 2018 Nationals. Do you feel worse? Talking to you here. Today, do you feel worse about Bryce Harper going to sign with the Phillies or Juan Soto signing with the Mets? I feel worse about Juan Soto signing with the Mets. That is how bad I feel right now. That is how down bad I am as a Nationals fan today. Juan Soto was the guy that we pinpointed here in town saying, it's okay. You can let Bryce Harper walk. You have Juan Soto. Anthony Rendon's walking too after winning a World Series. It's all right. You got to save money to sign Juan Soto. You have to. Max Scherzer, trade him away. Trey Turner, trade him away. You got to sign Juan Soto. Well, the Nationals, the worst team in all of baseball in 2022, made the correct decision, by the way, that I still stand by, trading him away. But I think the pain of it is this. Seeing him sign with the Mets, while also looking ourselves in the mirror, talking about the Nationals, and seeing where we are today, having the 28th highest payroll in all of baseball, while at the top of this fishbowl is the New York Mets. They can do whatever they want. And if you are a Mets fan today, and if you are just in the NL East in general, well, there's two different stories. If you're a Mets fan, you have to feel top of the world because everything that Steve Cohen has promised you is coming into fruition. But if you're the rest of the NL East, like the Nationals are, you feel terrible. Because everything that we have worried about with allowing this hedge fund billionaire who does not care about money comes into this division and says, the Yankees are cute. The Dodgers, you spend the money the way that you do, that's cute. $765 million, fully guaranteed, none of it deferred. All this money that he'll be getting up front, $50+ million annually over the next 15 seasons. And by the way, there's like a $75 million signing bonus or something crazy like that, or 25. I don't even know at this point. The numbers are ridiculous. All I know is this. Sitting here today, I feel terrible. I feel awful about where the Nationals are. And I think it's just one of those things where you're going to kind of forget about Juan Soto. Because you know what stings the most about this? Juan Soto is going to go into the Hall of Fame as a New York Met. Not as a Padre, not as a Yankee, not as a National, a New York Met. That stings. And talking about that and even thinking about it, what is there to say? What can you do to make this better? You can't. Well, maybe you can. We knew the Nationals weren't going to go after Juan Soto. The fact is that they didn't really even try to after Juan Soto kind of hurts a little bit. But maybe the Nationals could take advantage of this and try and land another star, like a Pete Alonso. Well, I'm going to tell you why. This happening might have been the worst thing for the Nationals. Because I don't think they're going to land Pete Alonso, and I don't really think they're going to try. I'll explain that after we tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at Omaha Steaks. And nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off site-wide during their cyber sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code MLB. With 5 generations of experience, Omaha Steaks consistently delivers the world's best steak experience, and their gifting experts have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide during the cyber sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code MLB and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code MLB. Minimum purchase may apply. Now we get back into it with Juan Soto officially being a New York Met. Again, the terms in the deal, 15 years, $765 million with elevators that can get him up to $800 million over the course of 15 years. So, it sucks. Well, could the Nationals pivot, though, and take advantage of this and try and land former Mets star Pete Alonso? Well, I'm here to tell you, this was probably the worst thing to happen to the Nats as far as Pete Alonso goes. Now, this isn't fully out there at this point in time, but the Nationals, I'll break it for you. They're not going to sign Pete Alonso. In fact, this was the worst thing to happen if you wanted to sign Pete Alonso, just like I did. Because guess what? The New York Yankees, they now need a bat. You're not getting Juan Soto back, that generational talent. Well, I can tell you this. They're going to go after Pete Alonso. And I hate to say it, I don't think I need to tell you this, but Pete Alonso, number one, is going to choose the New York Yankees over the Nationals. And number two, the Nationals are not going to be able to offer him as much money as the Yankees will. And even then, if the Yankees decide, you know what, we don't need Pete Alonso, we're going to go for a more savvy move, whether it's sign Carlos Santana or whatever it is, there's more. I'm not ruling out the New York Mets retaining Pete Alonso. I still think they could get the job done even after giving Juan Soto $50+ million annually. They could easily get it done, in fact. Juan Soto was just the tip of the iceberg for Steve Cohen, in my opinion. They've signed Clay Holmes, the closer that I wanted for the Nationals, and they're giving him 3 years and like $35 million. And they're going to say, this guy's going to be our starting pitcher. We'll see how that works out. I could still easily see them going after Pete Alonso yet again. And even Pete Alonso taking a team-friendly contract. Pete Alonso wants to win, number one. And number two, he has been the New York Mets since 2019. He has been everything for them. I don't think Steve Cohen's just going to let him walk away and say, you know what, we got Juan Soto now. Because I think Pete Alonso in that lineup, if he were to sign a 2-year deal, let's just say he goes 2 years and hit free agency yet again, or sign an 8-year contract with a player option after 2 seasons, These next 2 seasons with Juan Soto protecting you in that lineup with Francisco Lindor, with Mark Miento, all the other different kind of guys that they have in that lineup, it could be dangerous. It could be somewhere around this time next season where we're talking about MVP Pete Alonso. The Nationals aren't going after this guy. You can't. There are now way too many big fishes in this market. And again, if the Mets really wanted to, I think the Nationals are going to be kind of the baby brother to the New York Mets for the next 10 years. I just do think that. Here's my thing with the Nats sitting here today, though. I do want to get into this because people are crushed. Fans are crushed. Baseball fans as a whole, they're crushed. Some people out there do not want to see him to go to the Yankees. Some people like the Mets more than the Yankees, which, makes sense. The New York Yankees are pretty insufferable. But if you're an NL East fan today, you got to feel like crap. I feel like crap. I thought I woke up sick today. No. The sickness was Juan Soto signed with the New York Mets. That was it. Our beloved Juan Soto, compared to Ted Williams when he was 20 years old, the game's best and most brightest star, well, not really, Shohei Ohtani, but in my opinion, the best hitter in all of baseball, is signing with one of our rivals yet again. If you're the Nationals today, I was listening to Barry Svrluga with the Junkies this morning on 106.7 The Fan. Barry was talking about the Nationals, and he kind of said this, and he wasn't really saying this as a report, but more so maybe as what he has potentially heard. Barry Svrluga said today that the Nationals aren't going to spend until they put butts in the seats. And he said that, and again, I think it was more so of an opinion rather than a report, so don't run with it. But when I heard that, it's so backwards of what the Nationals need to be in right now. It's 100% backwards for where this organization needs to be. In order to put butts in the seats, you have to go sign players. You have to give them reasons to spend money at the stadium. Because looking at as far as costs to go to a Nationals game, while they have been a bottom third team over the last 5-6 seasons, it certainly wouldn't feel that way, especially when it's coming from your checkbook. Because the Nationals, you have to pay a top third premium to go to a Nationals game. And this is a big market. That is why. That's what they would say. Well, I think the fans should say to the Nationals, well, you're a big market and you have to start spending like it. Having a payroll that's barely bigger than the Oakland A's and the Miami Marlins is a joke. That's from years past. You are not a small market team. You are a big market team. You have to go out there and spend and act like you are. Nationals fans are not going to be coming back in droves just because of James Wood and Dylan Cruz. They could be exceptional, great MVP caliber players, in which they could be, by the way, which would be great. You would assume the Nationals would start winning again. But we all know the inevitable. If they do end up that way, what's the likelihood that they end up as Washington Nationals for the rest of their career? Because I can tell you this, Dylan Cruz, Scott Boras client. James Wood, Scott Boras client. And also, let's look at the rotation. Mackenzie Gore, sitting here today, he's your ace. Scott Boras client. Whatever you want to say about the Nationals, I think the Lerner family has certainly done more good. Not maybe more good here recently, but overall, they have shown that they can spend and that they can build a winner, and that Mike Rizzo at the helm of the operation, he can do it. But you got to do this. You have to go all in. Whether it is going after a Pete Alonso, whether it's making that splashy trade, whatever it is, The Nationals have to prove to the fan base, number one, and also themselves that we are ready to win. You have to send that message and go after a Pete Alonso. You have to at least have your name in the conversation, which it sort of has been. But even then, I don't know this for 100% fact. No one does, but still, come on. We're not stupid. Their names really aren't in the conversation here. Pete Alonso is not going to sign here. So that's that. But now we got to take a deep dive in the NL East because the NL East landscape, it's changed forever. I'll explain that after we tell you about our friends over at FanDuel and get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. And you get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Like tonight, you've got the Cowboys taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. I can tell you this, I've got a Jamar Chase anytime touchdown prop, and as well as a Chase Brown touchdown prop. And if you haven't known, well, I can tell you this, take the over prop on Joe Burrow passing touchdowns. He's done it all season long. And when you do that, visit FanDuel.com and join today. You'll start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com, and never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Yesterday, aka last night, when the New York Mets signed Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million contract, the NL East landscape has changed forever. Everyone talks about the Dodgers and the way that they spend. They spend so much money, and they're very good at it. And every contract that they give out seems to work out perfectly. Yes, the New York Yankees are the New York Yankees. They'll always have a top 3 payroll. But I think their days of having the #1 payroll is gone. The new New York Yankees is here in the NL East. Now, they have to win. They do have to win. And here's the good thing. Here's what got me out of bed this morning. While the Mets have new ownership, with Steve Cohen and unlimited cash to throw around whatever he wants, you have the new president of baseball ops, David Stearns, awesome in building a farm system, has done it for years in a small market and has kept the Brewers competitive for all these years. Yes, he is a great president. They finally have seemed to find the right manager who led them to the NLCS this year. They have got the pitching. They've got some prospects as well down on the farm. One thing that hasn't changed about this Mets team over the last few seasons is the name on their chest. It's the Mets. They could find a way to blow this thing up. And if there was one team out there that would mess this up, it's probably them. I could see that happening, and that is a very realistic possibility. But in my opinion, with the way that free agency goes, the landscape of the NL East has and will continue to change. It's no longer the Braves who will run through this division. It's no longer even the Phillies. This division will run through the New York Mets for probably the next 15 years under Juan Soto. And as long as Steve Cohen doesn't have a salary cap, he will continue to print money. And as he prints his money, he will continue to pay and spend all that money. The landscape has changed. Baseball has changed with Steve Cohen as an owner. I just hope for the sake of the game and for the sake of everything else, you take this into consideration. Because at some point in time, with the way that contracts are going in baseball, the way that viewership is, and the way that these small market teams cooperate and operate as a whole. At one point, are you going to look over the National Football League and say, you know what? A salary cap and a salary floor ain't that bad of an idea. Baseball is going to have to consider that at some point. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. This was Juan Soto day. It sucks. Juan Soto is a New York Met, and I don't know, man. We'll see what happens down the line, but what a day. What a bad day. A sad day. An unfortunate day. Everything bad under one umbrella, that's just what it is. So thank you all for making it Locked On Nats your first listen. Try to enjoy the day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.